Independent origins moment number 3. Low genetic diversity. For all those who appreciate the work that we're doing here on Standing for Truth, please hit that subscribe button because we are just getting started. Okay, guys, looks like we are live, and this is going to be Independent Origins Moments number 3. And I'm really, really excited for this one. This one's one of my favorite topics here. So let's get right into it. Now, I think this is obvious because a direct expectation from the biblical model, okay, is in fact low genetic diversity in human beings. This is simply because God tells us in Genesis, okay, that he created 2 people, Adam and Eve. What would this do? Well, this would restrict levels of genetic diversity. Okay, this would restrict levels of genetic diversity also in the mitochondrial DNA, the Y chromosome, and this is exactly what we see, extremely low genetic variation, pointing us back to the first couple, Adam and Eve. Okay, modern genetic data has confirmed these expectations. And these claims made in Genesis are very, very specific. They did not have to be true. And yet, low genetic diversity is exactly what we see. We are 99.999% similar. Anybody on this planet. Okay. Now, the evolutionary community, I want to point out, they were completely shocked by this. Okay, because if the evolutionary fairy tale were true, for example, a man has actually evolved from ape-like ancestors. Okay, the Australopithecines are evolving for millions of years, and you've got, the so-called transitional forms like habilis or sediba, for example. And then you've got Erectus, who's living on the planet for millions of years, accumulating more and more genetic diversity. Mutations by definition add genetic diversity because a mutation is adding something that was not previously there. Okay, so millions of years of human evolution, we would then expect higher levels of genetic diversity, and that's not what we've discovered. We've found low levels of genetic diversity. So what the evolutionary community had to do was invent a post-hoc, ad hoc, out of Africa evolutionary bottleneck. Okay, it's rescue device upon rescue device upon rescue device with these evolutionists. And the reason why they invoked this was to reduce levels of heterozygosity and increase levels of homozygosity, okay? And what's funny is, according to the human evolution story, this would have been an extended, a prolonged population bottleneck, okay? And this is necessary according to their model because they need to reduce those levels of genetic diversity to roughly where they are today to explain the data. We did not have to explain away the data. We didn't have to do that, okay? And this is why it's post-hoc, ad hoc. What they've done is they've retrofitted the data, the genetic data, into their story. But what's funny is the rescue device that they invoke, this hypothetical out of Africa population bottleneck, it would have been extremely genetically compromising to that population of, say, 2 to 10,000, because we know inbreeding by definition, okay, reveals the hidden reservoir of genetic mistakes. These mutations that have been accumulating for millions of years, okay, they are in a recessive state. Okay, these are then manifested, and what they do is they lead to accelerated genetic degeneration. Okay, these deleterious mutations, they're coming to the forefront. This population of 2 to 10,000 would have been so genetically compromised that there is no feasible way, okay, to then have this population suddenly explode into all parts of the world, seizing dominion over the planet. This population would have been at near extinction. And we have an example of this today with the cheetahs, for example. They're down to about 7,000. Okay, they're highly degenerated, they're genetically compromised, conservationists are worried about their possible extinction, their sperm is degenerate. Okay, we're not going to suddenly expect this population of 7,000 cheetahs to explode into all parts of the world and just suddenly seize dominion over the planet. And I know that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, okay, but that is what these evolutionists are proposing with their highly genetically compromised population of 2 to 10,000, okay? So here's the point to take away from this, okay? Biblical creationists, we expected based on the starting point of 2, Adam and Eve. Okay, this would restrict levels of genetic diversity. This turns out to be the case. Human beings are all 99.9% similar. And this points us right back to the first couple, Adam and Eve.